All right, guys, welcome. It's your boy. It's the friendly Gears Jesus dishing up another sermon for the regular folks. Now, I just jumped out of the shower, hence the soaking wet hair. Just going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to live it, love the locks, leave a like and subscribe. Consider becoming a member. Now, I realised something today. We're going to sit back. I'm going to sit back and get comfortable. And I realised something today that I was frustrated at not being able to play Gears, right? Even though I didn't really like the game, I wanted to play it so I could make content to interact with you. And then I just realized something. I don't need to play the game to do anything that I want to do. So we just carry on as normal. Like they can shut me down on stream. They can shut me game down. But they can't shut this little video down with this long-haired parting of the sea, wave goddess Moses, Jesus Christ, Lord our Saviour, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, can they? So, today, I just wanted to have a chat and just discuss a few things that have been on my mind. And, through the power of the internet, we're also going to be taking a look at some hot topics in the Gears of War scene. So that should be good fun. Okay, so the first port of call is I've been thinking just purely about time. Obviously, a lot's happened since I burst onto the scene. And, you know, we have had a year and a half plus of the game. And I just sit here and I think logically about the things that have happened. And I come to the conclusion that the Gears franchise has really not been lower than at this point. The things that have been going through my mind are you the fans at home, and also that point, that lowest point. Last night I watched Arsenal get knocked out of the Europa League. I'm sorry, Arsenal fans, if you're watching, but take your time with it, okay? Take your time with it. And you said that your club has never been lower than this. And I was thinking, I don't think Gears has ever been lower than this. And the reason I say that is when you think of Gears of War as a name, as a brand, as a something you think of, I don't know anybody that plays the game. I know the OGs that still play the game to this day because they're just, whether you want to say they're addicted or they love the game or whatever, they keep playing it, and more power to you. For those that are still enjoying Gears 5, that is absolutely brilliant. That is what we all want. We want people to enjoy their video games, to have fun, and if you're having fun, that is spectacular. And my grievances or other people's grievances with the games don't make your enjoyment any less valid. You might like one thing and hate another, and I might hate one thing and like another. And it's just a game of opinions, isn't it? That's all this is. And when I was watching that Arsenal TV, which for those that don't know, they have a fan on and they get them to view their opinions, I want to involve you in the channel. So I'm going to put it to you today, the question, are you happy with the state of the Gears of War franchise? And I want you to go out and record at maximum a little five-ish minute video, and I will feature you on my channel. So let's pose that I've asked you the question. Hiya, Tim. You know, I've had my grievances with the game. I've been banned. The franchise is for me at a very low point. I feel population's declined. I feel that overall brand recognition is at a low. I don't feel like most of the common gamers will dabble in Gears. People might play a bit of Counter-Strike, a bit of Valorant, a bit of COD. Nobody is ever dabbling in a little bit of Gears. And I don't think the franchise has ever been lower. What do you think about the Gears of War franchise today? Maybe who is to blame, who is not to blame. Maybe you love the franchise and you're still passionate, and that is an entirely valid point. You are allowed to like things and you are allowed to differ in opinion, and that is what I want to bring. So if you have a YouTube video you want to send me, DM me on Twitter with your video, and I will feature you as a fan with your opinions, and I'll post up some of the opinions because I want this to become more involved with you, because that's what I miss, is that interaction with you, the fan. And you all have, I'm sure, different opinions and different things that I agree and disagree with. And you've probably listened to me a lot over the past year and a half, and listening to other people just give you different ideas and little equations to solve and think about. And maybe there's somebody that's ready to be featured on my channel that has just a wildly different viewpoint, or just words it in a different way that intrigues you. And I'm willing to use my platform to help others maybe voice their voice that can't do it. For me, Gears of War reached the pinnacle probably on Gears of War 2's launch. That's probably honestly what I'd say. I'd say that Gears of War 1 was like this highly graphically advanced game. It had one of the best cover systems, most modern, innovative cover systems we've seen. We're talking about 2006 here, and the cover system, you could swap, you could bounce from cover to cover, move, climb. Hell, you could even do a kung fu flip if you knew how. The cover, although sticky at times, you know, you'd get stuck to corners, more to do with like just general network and, you know, easing out the kinks. That's kind of massively innovative. It was hugely gory, and it had a big presence in media. There was even, you know, we talk about how games can kind of sell themselves. We talk about Logan Paul and we talk about Floyd Mayweather and how they're selling the fight with a bit of a scuffle. There was even drama about, should we have the chainsaw in the game? You know, this game is going to be so damn violent. It's going to have a chainsaw in it. We can't allow it. We're going to have to somehow get that in. And then there was the Corpser TV advert that popped up. And when I saw that Corpser and its eyes lit up and there was that soldier running through, I thought, phew, like, I've got to buy an Xbox for this. And I asked my parents for an Xbox 360 at Christmas, and thankfully I managed to get one. And yeah, the rest is history, so to speak. That built up for a couple years, and I remember the day the Gears of War 2 trailer dropped. We were playing, I remember it this well, like this, like a visceral thing. We were playing Clocked Out in a scrim, and everyone in the game was like fucking, you know, you're scrimming, it's intense, you're trying to get on game battles, warm up. And we all just pieced out the lobby, and we all went and downloaded that trailer, and it was the red one with like Marcus running through. And we were like, holy shit, Gears of War 2's just been announced. Because back in those days, you didn't like have news channels. You didn't have like, you didn't sit on like Reddit and forums and look at leaks. Like, things just got sprung upon you. And yeah, Gears of War 2 had a super rocky launch. Its mechanics differed, but its campaign was strong. It introduced Horde. And for all of my grievances with the multiplayer, overall it was a real solid product. You know, granted after title update 6, but let's not get into that. But for the most part, for the time, and you know, let's factor in the time, this was like what, 2008-9, that was probably the pinnacle, the switch between the Gears 1 to Gears 2. And maybe it faded then, and maybe you know, it didn't quite live up to it, or whatever you may think. That was probably the period for me where it was at its height. Now, because it got super trashed with all of these things, Gears of War 3 took an approach where it did like a middling ground. It kind of did a bit of Gears 1 and a bit of Gears 2. It had a really successful beta, which Will from Epic Games got me a code, and I was the world's first person to do a Gears 3 montage. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that, Will. And it didn't super innovate on Horde. It didn't probably have the best campaign of the three, but it was a solid product, and there was something there. There was definitely keen interest for like something. What would the next thing be? Now, it fell into a difficult time period where sort of Judgment came along, and that tried to do something new, kind of like grab the COD crowd, but also kind of make the campaign a more replayable thing. It was clearly trying different things to reach an audience, and I think maybe that game came too soon. Some of the things were really good. I went and watched an old review of mine where surprisingly I was quite positive about Judgment, even though it got a lot of hate. I could see where they were going with it, because I watched that review waiting for me to be slaughtering it, and when I listened to myself, I was like, no, I was actually quite fair with the game. And yeah, that kind of split the franchise. And then there was like this time period where free-to-play games happened, like League of Legends. Games as a service kind of became a thing, regular content updates. And that's when Gears 4 and 5 just have not hit the mark at all. Gears 5 been the true example of trying to do a game as a service. And if you compare it to, say, Path of Exile, which is the competitor to Diablo, which Rod Ferguson left for, Path of Exile is famous for every 3 months doing a huge amount of content, and they're also building a brand new game, Path of Exile 2, behind it. And there is probably so much content that everybody kind of currently hates the game because they can't do all of the content in 3 months, and it's become a huge grind. They're probably going to have to chop some of that down. But that's kind of the potential of a live service, a League of Legends, a Dota, these games that keep getting updated and keep bringing players back, like Counter-Strike, even to this day, just had a new case drop, it just had a new map put in, and CSGO has still been supported. The American esports scene might have died off as people transition to Valorant, but it's still going. And Gears of War hasn't got that. It has not done that. And when I think about the stuff and the place it was in, Gears 3 and Gears 1 and Gears 2, they were household names. And when I think about Gears 4, Gears 5, they're just not. Look, they might have had a lot of players due to Game Pass. I'm sure there are tons of games that launch on Game Pass that get big figures. Maybe not to the scale of Gears, because that was like, if I think personally, now I could be completely wrong, but when I think of Game Pass, I think of Gears 5 being one of like the first big AAA launches that just came out of the gate on Game Pass. And then people were kind of like, whoa, this Game Pass is pretty cool. You get brand new AAA games. And it kind of just absolutely missed the mark. It tried this open world thing, which is fine, but the open world was so unbelievably poor. I watched an IGN review that Dutchy reacted to, and they said that one of the new hot features was the skiff could change the way you play the game. You could store up to 2 weapons on the skiff, and you could swap and go and reach for the lancer or reach for the sniper or a boom shot on the skiff. And they're trying to sell, they're trying to ham up and sell something that isn't really a feature. The fact that you can go and pick up a boom shot or go and pick up a sniper doesn't change how you played the campaign at all. It's, you know, the story wasn't good, the execution wasn't good, the overall trying to make a decision, because if the decision in the game matters, then what do they do for the final game, Gears 6? And if it does matter, and you chose the quote wrong one, what happens? Your choice just felt utterly meaningless. The multiplayer got off to one of the worst starts I've ever seen in a multiplayer, and the support post-launch has been downright confusing. In one regard, the developers said that they don't want to rule and lead the game as like an iron fist of this is what we do, what we say goes. They've also said that they don't want the game to be ruled by committee, and that players' kind of feedback is kind of side. It's like a side project. So they don't want to rule, and they don't want the game to be ran by committee. So it's kind of half the coalition push their ideas, half not. And we've ended up with this game that has, I honestly feel, the worst balance of any Gears ever made. Hand on heart. I'm not saying that because I've been suspended from Gears 5. I think escape mode was brilliant. I wish they'd done more with escape mode. I think that it's absolutely just ridiculous that they scrapped, like they scrapped escape mode to push maps. And on Operation 6, the trailer, they said we're going to be focusing on our more true and tested 5v5 maps, but the game is 4v4. Now, that just, in that sentence in itself, just shows a complete lack of anything going on. Now, I can be up in arms that I tried to give feedback, and I gave so much feedback it probably rattled them, and then they scoured my account on Twitter to try and find a joke to suspend me, and then have not given me any reason or warning or explanation as to why it happened, and haven't told me the rules of my suspension. Can I make a new account? Can I yada yada yada? We don't care about that. It's literally irrelevant. I'm still going to speak about something I'm passionate about, and just because I can't play the game doesn't make my points any less valid. In fact, it probably gives a bit more weight to my opinion, which is probably worrying, because a lot of people agreed with me in the first place, and now there's probably more people agree with me. Look, I don't think the Gears franchise is finished. I personally think the Gears franchise could still be one of the best games ever made, because it has such a cool universe. It has such a unique mechanic in its cover system and its gory third person. There is no other game like it. And I think when a game steps out of that and it does a Gears Tactics, it's a truly brilliant game. Gears Tactics was truly brilliant. It took the Gears universe and the Gears franchise, altered it, and it gave you a game that if you were a bit tired of the same old formula, you got that campaign, that lore, that intense action of trying to survive on Insane, but it wasn't the classic campaign formula. It was in a sort of XCOM style game, right? That's cool. We could do more of that. We could take breaks from the franchise and not just keep churning out the same stuff, and do little side projects. Now, I'm not in this video, because it'll be far too long, going to sit down and discuss everything that is right and wrong with Gears 5. There is hundreds of hours on my channel, and I'll continue to talk in future. I'm going to be doing videos on certain topics, and then I'm going to ask you for your personal opinion, and I want to get some fans' opinions, so it's not just all about me, because I don't know everything. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. I'm just voicing my thoughts. The awesome thing about my channel is I sort of went back through, and I just sort of realized that I haven't really made content even playing the game. All of my content is talking, and I can still do that today. I can't be stopped doing that. And I wanted to sit down today and just dish out some thoughts. I'm now going to have a dive into the forum, and then I'm going to end it with one of the fan videos that has been kindly sent in by Slick Will, and this is an entirely unique piece of content. You can say if you like it or you don't like it, but what we can say is this is truly unique, and I love the fact that someone has sat down, taken the time out to not just write this out and you know, write this sort of about me, that I've had that like little impact, which is absolutely awesome, but it's so creative, and that's what's cool. And TC cannot take that away from me. TC can take that away from me if you let them. If you stop tuning in and you stop turning up into the streams, and it slowly dies off, then yeah, that can happen. They can have, quote, silenced me, and it can have won. But as long as if I'm here and I've got passion, which I still do, I'm still occasionally going to pick up the mic and I'm going to talk about the game and its thoughts. So I'm going to dabble in the forums now, and I want to make the statement that I am viewing the public forum that is available to the public. All of the usernames in this video none of these are meant as an attack. These are just my own personal thoughts on some comments that are attributed to the forums. Please do not go to these people and send any harmful comments their way. This is entirely my opinion, and I'm going to have a browse of the forums, the forum that I was, quote, kicked off of for, quote, terrible shit feedback that harassed people, even though there's no proof. Literally no proof. I'll leave a link in the description, and we'll just see what the community is currently thinking. There's been Operation 7 talks, which I'm probably going to speak about in another video, but today we're going to see what you, the regular viewers and passionate fans on the forums, have to say about this situation. So let's have a gander. Let's switch camera and let's have a look. Thank you to all the supporters that keep supporting the Twitch streams, keep becoming YouTube members. Those are the things that keep me going. Twitch subscribers and YouTube members are basically the only way that this thing works, and anyone that has got the badge next to their name for supporting me, you're a goddamn hero. Okay, so today we're going to have a look at the top rated posts of this week. This is from May the 1st to May the 7th, and we will take a little gander. So we have, let's have a look. Shall we order this? These are the top rated posts, I believe. Let's search this in terms of views or in terms of replies that has generated the most activity. So the first top rated thread this week, and one thing I will add is the reason I'm doing this video is because when I watched that launch video and that launch rant I did, I realized after a year and a half, most of it still remains true. And I was a bit worried, like, damn, I thought a lot of that would have changed, but it really hasn't. So now I will take a look at some public feedback that is available, and I'll have a thought and a comment here, just live. I don't know what I'm going to be looking at, just off the cuff, you know. So the first thread we're going to be taking a look at is master progression. A member says, "Hi community, I've asked TC what the progression issue is. TC asked for tickets to be submitted. Please use your screenshots." So this sounds like Boost has not been working, and we're hoping that this will be fixed. So again, this is a key issue. Boost, which is one of the last things you can actually spend money on in the game, is not working, and a launch of a sort of system wasn't working. Now this is fine, these type of things happen, but for these things to still be continually happening is obviously a sign of the times. So we have a lot of people here saying that it seems to be that they've done tons and tons of waves, didn't get any double XP. I've been trying to help the community by submitting tickets. This guy says banning people on Twitter is more important than resolving problems. I swear to God, I didn't pay that guy to say it, even though he says pay for that. Don't know who that guy is, mate, but maybe he's referencing me. Says there are several threads. This one's still ongoing. I know TC Sarah has been responsible for pushing their team to get their act together. My words, not hers. XP frozen. So there's a ton of issues here. Have you restarted the game? What re-up are you? Help us investigate. Still not getting XP from games, so people playing big long horde games and matches weren't earning coins and stuff. That sounds like that's been disappointing. The next thread is to make crossplay mandatory. It's tiring to play with the same people on PC because players remove crossplay to not play against PC players, but they don't see it for us who are on PC. In 3 games in a row, I play with the same person over and over and over again, and it gets monotonous. I will say that when I was able to play the game, which is why it is rather hilarious that I was taken off the game, was for a year and a half, I produced daily content to help people get through lockdown, and I played the same people over and over and over and over again, and I still tried to make it fun to watch. Now, people will probably say that this serves people right for playing on PC and it's an Xbox game. People need to wake up into the 21st fucking century and realize that every single major game is crossplay, and playing on a keyboard does not make you some sort of insta-cheater. In fact, probably the heavy amount of aim assist on the console version balances it out. You have the higher FOV now. And in terms of movement, it's incredibly easy to offset someone's ability to aim with better movement. And I have managed to get, with learning a controller, 2 masters, which at the time the master system sort of worked. And I've played on a PC. And yes, PC has an advantage in many ways, so does console. It's one of the closest balanced games in terms of crossplay, and people that cry about it are probably one of the reasons the game is dying. Now, people are saying blame the cheaters. That's not the point. If the reason you aren't playing the game is because of cheaters, then in fact you should be blaming the developers. The developers are responsible for maintaining their competitive integrity of their game. And if cheaters are ruining the PC player base, which in my experience as a person that played it for a year and a half, they were not, then that's on the developers, not the fact there's crossplay. You can also play on it with an Xbox, but this is not the video for me to discuss should there be crossplay, yes or no, because that's an age-old debate that would go on forever. It is interesting, though, that to this day, it's a very, very interesting that everyone's still 50-50 about it. And it was one of the main selling points of the game that has basically been taken away because, yes, crossplay exists, but realistically, you only ever play against other PC players. And it's just an example of the coalition doing things half-baked. Either crossplay is a thing and you embrace it, or you don't want it and you kill it off. This half-arsed approach filters through the game and it makes people very frustrated. The fact that chat still doesn't work and the fact that people's microphones, like myself, did not work for the entire duration of the game is an absolute disgusting way to treat players personally. The next is Gears dying? Gears dying. I wonder if it's dead. Gears of War is my favourite third-person shooter, but lately I feel it's dying. Some players are quitting because of all the glitches, and it's honestly sad. This game came out 15 years ago, and the first 5 years were the best 5. Tactics was a lifesaver, I agree. It was really fun. Gears 6, I'm sure will be better, but it's probably going to be more of the same. I don't think it's dead, but it's close to, and it's certainly irrelevant. Let's say that. It might not be dead, but it could be irrelevant. This guy says the biggest issue is ranked. Ranked is terrible. The ranking system makes Masters a joke. This is something that I actually had a developer DM me and said that they really liked my feedback and they penciled a meeting in. They probably brought my name up and said Z has done some feedback and probably penciled out that meeting with a larger fucking eraser, and I never heard anything back. I sat and played the game for a month across multiple accounts, multiple difficulties, stack, no stack, solo with a controller, PC, all of the things to kind of get a feel for the new improved ranking system, and it was a diabolical mess. +2, -2 matchmaking is a absolute crying shame for a game that tries to be competitive. And then if you're not being competitive, you also can't play with your friends because stacks aren't allowed. Now, personally, I dislike stacks, but if you can't get competitive integrity right with a working ladder and actual accurate matchmaking, you may as well just make the player base be able to play each other, scrap ranks, and get an all-time leaderboard going. Clearly, Ranked has utterly failed. Ranked utterly failed on the launch of the game. Ranked has still utterly failed. And all of the players here are agreeing that they are not enjoying their ranking experience. And I think it's time TC focus more on that and less on me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll hold the applause. I'll hold the applause. Honestly, most of the people here are just saying that it's not bad. It's glitches. I really like the fact that there's cross ping, etc. There's mostly the same guy talking over and over again in this thread. God bless him. He's fighting the good fight. Yeah, that's true. Gears is forever dying but never dead, but there will become a point if it continues where it will actually be dead. I think most people are confused or kind of frustrated at the state of Ranked, and a lot of people don't seem to realize there's two ways you do it. You make an incredibly good, tight matchmaking system where similar players play similar players and queue times are long, but the games are good and even, and it feels good to progress through the ranking system and it feels meaningful. Then you sink time into the game you want to improve, because suddenly transitioning from silver to gold feels like your mechanics have improved. If you don't have a good ranking system and it feels like anybody can be anywhere and anyone can play anyone, you don't want to put time into that system, and as a result you put time into other games and you move on because you realize there are other games out there that have modernized and do things better. That's the truth. Is Gears dying? Yes. Is it dead? No. Could it die? Yes. Will it die? Probably not. Is the ranking system a humongous part to do with that? Yes. And is it an utter joke that they haven't fixed it? Yes. Next, we've got the host kicking me in Horde. I haven't hit level 20. I'm trying to get level 20, but I keep getting booted. I'm sorry to hear that. I usually load into public lobbies and I don't have that issue. Now, I'll tell you what the issue is right away. The issue is that Horde is such a long-ass game and it's kind of stale. And I know there are good parts and bad parts to it, but it is kind of stale. We all agree the meta, the way it plays out. It's not like you've been swarmed by zombies or enemies. It's not like Vermintide. If you want to know what Vermintide is, there's a review on my channel. It's very stale. And obviously you don't want to fail it and make it more difficult or more long. So obviously people want high-level players or characters to show that people know what they're doing. But the issue is, if you are good at the Gears of War and you want to play a higher level Horde and you don't have that higher level character, your character can feel completely useless. So your grinding process is blitz through multiple full games of Horde where your character is kind of meaningless because it's low level and it's just your own skill about killing the enemies on beginner mode, which is boring because you're good at the game. And then eventually you reach this middle ground where your character's not really doing anything special. The game's still not really getting much more difficult and you can't play in the harder lobbies and you kind of get lost. Horde is one of the big reasons players buy the game, in my opinion. There aren't many tower defense style games on Xbox, and I think it's a shame that PvE has been cast aside. They got rid of the tile system, they scrapped the map maker, they scrapped all of these things to focus on a dead multiplayer with a crap ranking system with a shit esports scene. That's the truth. They completely fucked up. Michael Shannon should have more resources to make PvE good. There should be tiles coming in. We should not be a year and a half later saying Escape is dead, by the way, and we've killed it, and coming up this week in Gears is the next Escape that is a rerun of something that launched with the game. Games typically, and these days, they have to get better and better and better, otherwise you lose your players to games that are releasing new content. Let's not even talk about how it markets itself, but if Gears is literally killed off escape mode and escape mode wasn't even sorted and it didn't even get min-maxed and it didn't reach the pinnacle of what it could be and they've already scrapped it, players just think, what is the point of me putting time into this? And I completely feel with them. Let's have a quick poll, changing gamer tag, and then we'll read maybe needs to be said. So, quick poll, would you rather use the Lancer for once and reclaim the ring, or run into with your Nasher and immediately die? This is actually a salt post, and I'll tell you why this is a salt post. Because this isn't his fault. This is the developer and the game's fault. Because if you play in high-level lobbies, people will do the correct thing. The ranking system would weed out the shit from the good, and eventually you should be reaching games where players are playing the mode correctly. Sometimes it's the correct choice to run in with your Nasher and break and fight. Sometimes it's the position where you want to sit in a pocket and provide suppressing fire and crossing fire whilst your team captures. There's no right or wrong answer. This question is just a bad question. There is not... The right answer isn't use your Lancer and reclaim the ring or run in and die. That's just a loaded question. The question is, would you rather have a working ranking system or have a working ranking system? Because that's what you're asking for here. So most of the forum is entirely negative. It's entirely negative. I'm not seeing any positives here. And that's because that's what the developers have led. People like myself that sat here for a year and a half and passionately spoke about every single iota of the game on how to fix it have been kicked off permanently from the game. And all that's left now are the people that are addicted, grinding the game and maybe hoping for Chrome Steel, Bikini Kate. The lack of fun in Gears. There's a whole host of questions here that all of the top posts are negative. It's not like Operation 6 was a blast, absolutely love this event, no, like they're all negative, and you could say it's confirmation bias, but no, if you look at other forums, like say Path of Exile. Yep, they're a negative post, but they're also good posts. So I'm glad to see it's not just me. I'm glad to see it's not just me that feels like this. Again, it's not me just bashing TC. I think TC have done loads of good things and loads of bad things. I just say it how it is, and I'm sorry if that's rubbed people up the wrong way, but I'm just saying it how it is. We'll now leave you with a video that a fan sent in, and if you ever want to send in a thought or an opinion or a question, don't be scared to do so. This is a video from Slick Will. I'll try roll it now for you. I hope you enjoy this. This is a little, shall we say, rap from Slick Will, shout out. And I will now roll it and just give it a listen. So I think we've got my audio set up correctly.
All right, we recording here? All right, cool. Once again,
here we
alkaline
go.
Water. Check that out. 9.4. Got an upset stomach? Well, not anymore. This is for Z here. I'm doing this unprovoked, but I'm a deaf jump in that boat. If GGZII is fighting, that's my guy. I mean my bloke. So that freedom of speech can be spoke. Let's keep that boat afloat. I also have roots and gears. I'm gonna make them a torque bow poke. I mean a root beer float. I mean cheer for a queer joke. I swear my peers throw clear smokes. I sneer at flashbang hoes. I still get flashback episodes like I'm watching rerun shows. The second operation should have been a lobotomy. That's when they brought back Baird. What could the problem be? But instead they try to rebuild the entire project, dodge this one. Gears 5 is the physical embodiment of a reject, like the horde enemy, and now the juvies want to escape to a safe space where they can't get teabagged, teacupped, or tea-raped, or type 2 in an angry way. You were all lucky you weren't around for the original Gears days. 19 rounds of execution, booing, shooting, curb stomp, booting, 10 seconds between each round for each team to be hooting, and hollering, find out who had the weak continents that had the utmost prominence, then give them a sniper scope exam like you were an optometrist. Gears is a Microsoft exclusive and has been around well over a decade, but on a top 10 list, it's missing like a renegade. I started playing in 10th grade, and would it be cliche? Actually ironic to say that the more time passed since E-Day, the more rare the replays, the more we wish the present would fade. Even with the game on Game Pass, I still have like half the community in a custom lobby with 3 spots open, getting bodied because they know my every motion. I'm causing this commotion because of all the emotions exposing that they have a train tunnel between their legs where here comes the locomotion. You want lubricant, I'm supposing? I want a new content explosion. Maybe give Z a promotion instead of expelling him in the ocean. Well, the Kraken's been awoken. You'll get smacked and swollen, hijacked and stolen. You guys got double standards or split. Are we playing Gears or bowling? The characters in game literally chainsaw each other in half and curse and talk smack, and what's worse, they're all mad. Both sides sees the other as bad. Only genocide will make them glad. Now, games don't make people violent, but I'm getting mixed signals like the streetlight is plaid. None of the well-known voices wanted to help out because I guess they spawned in the stars. Well, I'm destroying the hive mind, cutting out Raina's heart and using Z's bars. Now, I didn't talk to Z, but he'd probably say GG. Off the heezy, I'm just saying heezy. Damn it, I messed up the last line. Now, I didn't talk to Z, but he'd probably say GG. Off the heezy, I'm just saying heezy. There it goes. Thanks for watching, I appreciate it. No, I didn't talk to Z. No, but, you know. Dude's kind of getting a lot of hate right now for basically just his opinion, so. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't agree with that. You should be able to say whatever you want to say. You know, that's kind of how I look at it. Kind of what I did. And, you know. Whatever, I'm already max re-up, so I don't really care what you do to me, TC. I mean, I doubt you even watch my montages, so. If you want to, though, I mean, comment, like, subscribe. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that, mate. Put a big smile on my face. Big respect, mate. Creativity, fun content. That's what we like to see. Hopefully this video was something for you, Slick Will. Really do appreciate that, mate. Go check out his channel. If I can find it, I can dig it up, because it was like Slick Will. I'm sure it'll be a comment. I'll pin you, mate. Do check it out. Really do appreciate that. Hopefully this video was fun. I don't know what the next topic's going to be, but maybe it's going to be another one. But yeah, the voice is here, mate. I'm still here. I'm still repping you. You got to rep me, mate. We got it. We got it together, boys. We've got it.